In this video, we'll look at two adjustable monitor arms from Huanuo, and the only real difference between them is that one is slightly longer than the other. We're also going to look at the monitor reinforcement plates. Now these are a separate purchase, but they'll add strength to your desk, and they'll also keep you from scratching it. Now I've actually been using these arms for over 2 years, and they still perform just as well today as they did back in 2021 when these video clips were originally filmed. So if you want to pick some up for yourself, I'll have links in the description below. Alright, so let's put them together and we'll check them out. Here we have two adjustable floating monitor arms from Huanuo. We have the HNSS7 and the HNSS12, and the only real difference between these two is the HNSS7 can extend to 25.6 inches, while the HNSS12 extends to 21.65 inches, so around 4 inches difference. If you're not sure which one to get, I would just go with the shorter HNSS12, unless you have an extra wide desk or you want to take the monitor all the way down so it touches the desk, for some reason. But other than that, everything else is the same. They both fit monitors from 13 to 35 inches. They can hold from 4.4 to 26.4 pounds. They have the same VESA mount. They both swivel and rotate. And they both include a grommet base, a clamp base, and all the hardware. We're also going to use these monitor reinforcement plates so we don't scratch up our desk and also to prevent warping over time. Let's open the box. Here's everything all laid out from both boxes. As you can see, same exact stuff, of course, except for the longer arm of the HNSS7. We'll take a look at the instructions. Feel free to pause if you want to read all of this. All right, let's go ahead and put this together. Now there's also a grommet mount included, and for that you would drill a hole in your desk and secure it that way. But I don't want to put holes in my desk, so I'm going to use the C-clamp. The first thing we need to do is make sure our C-clamp is the proper width, and this C-clamp can accommodate desks from 0.39 inches to 3.5 inches. Now the desk we're using is 1 inch thick, so we'll try to tighten the C-clamp, and it just slides right off. So again, the first thing we need to do is adjust the C-clamp, and all the tools you need are included. Then I'll position the clamp a bit higher so there is less width, and replace the bolts. Place it back on the desk, and make sure we can get this tight. And we can. Next, we'll install the USB cable and the base, and for that we'll use the female end of the cable. Place it in the hole so it's just barely sticking out. It should be pretty flush. Then wrap the cable around the center and place it in the pre-cut slot. Now, one quick word about the orientation of the USB cable. What you want is when you turn the base over so it's right side up, is to see the blue tab of the USB port at the top. Now, I originally installed this with the blue tab at the bottom because I wasn't really paying attention, and I had to go back and flip it over, okay? Now, there's no functional difference between having the tab at the top or the bottom. The USB will work either way. It's more about standardization and parity. If you look at the USB 3 ports on your computer, all the blue tabs will be at the top. And then when you insert something like a USB flash drive, the branding will be at the top and visible. So I just want to maintain the parity between all of my USB ports. Next, attach the C-clamp to the base with the included bolts. Be sure to tighten these down. And this is what things should look like at this point. Now we'll unbox the monitor reinforcement plates. Of course, this is optional. It is an extra purchase, but it is something that I would suggest people get just so you don't damage your desk. Included in the package are some stick-on foam pads. So I'll peel off the backing and stick them on. Okay. Next, we'll attach the C-clamp to the desk on top of our reinforcement plates, and you can orient these however you want. You can have the big plate on top, or the small plate on top and the large plate on bottom. It's really up to you. But I'm going to use the big plate on top and the small plate on the bottom. So position the C-clamp and the top plate where you want it. Then get underneath your desk, position the bottom plate, and tighten the C-clamp. Next, we'll insert the arm into the base and look for these slots in the arm. This is the end you want to insert into the base. So give it a push, and there we go. You can then tighten it down here, but don't get it too tight because we still want to be able to rotate the arm. Just make sure it's secure. Next, we'll connect the extension arm to this one. You can see how it goes on, pretty simple. And there we go. Again, tighten the arm down, make sure it's secure, but we still want easy rotation. Now, of course, you can always come back to this later and adjust the tension for the feel you prefer. All right, here we are so far. Next, we'll attach the VESA plate. Take note of the up mark and insert it into the arm. Grab the proper bolt and a washer, insert it into the hole, and tighten it down with the Allen wrench. Next, we'll hang the monitor on these two slots or the two inner slots. It just really depends on the size of your monitor's mounts. So we'll need to insert screws into the VESA mounting holes of the monitor. For me, I'll remove these rubber caps, and you may need to use a spacer. Again, this is highly dependent on the monitor that you have. Insert the screws into the top two holes. Make sure they are fully inserted, but don't try to tighten them or you could damage your monitor. And you should have a gap here too, okay? Next, we'll hang the monitor on these top two holes. Very good. And then we'll insert screws into the bottom two holes. Again, you may need to use one of the included spacers. It all just depends on your exact monitor. Screw them down, make sure they are secure, make sure they're tight, but not overly tight, okay? Next up, I'll remove the base from the monitor. Again, exactly how you do this will be dependent on your exact monitor. All right, here we are so far. We have rotation, we have tilt. And you can always adjust the tension of all of these points with the included Allen wrenches. So be sure to hang on to those for future use. Next, we'll deal with cable management. So remove the screw and pull out the cover. Insert your cables, snap it back in, and screw it down. Then we'll deal with the bottom cover. Snap it out, place your cables in the cover, and snap the cover back in. Then attach the cable management plate to the rear of the C-clamp. Of course, your C-clamp is already installed. I'm just showing it like this because it's a lot easier to see. Once you snap it on, feed the cables through, and that's it. You're all done. But one thing to take note of before continuing is, are you placing stress on your cables when you move the arm? Now, this is important. If you are, you may need to replace your HDMI cable with a longer one. So I'll have links in the description below for the HDMI cables that I use. Of course, you need to reconnect the HDMI cable to your computer and connect the USB cable to your computer if you're planning on using the USB port in the base. Next, I'll put together the other arm, and you don't need to see this because it's literally exactly the same. All right, we're all done. So now's the time to test the arms. Make sure they're holding our monitors like we want so there's no drift up or down. Just push down the arm, insert the Allen wrench, and tighten or loosen the tension. So we're pretty good here. Wherever I put the monitor, it stays right there. We can extend it out, swivel it around, tilt, even orient the monitors in a vertical position or portrait mode. So here's a look at the difference between the longer arm and the standard arm. You can pull the monitor a little bit lower with the HNSS7. Here's a look from the side. The longer arm is closer. And of course, the longer arm, the HNSS7, can extend about 4 inches further. But other than that, both arms work the same. They're easy to move around to get just the position that you want, and they also increase the usable real estate of your desk since you don't have those bulky monitor bases taking up space. The USB port is also a nice addition. That's where I plug in the receiver for my mouse and keyboard. It keeps it out of the way, but also in a direct line with the wireless mouse and keyboard for a perfect connection. Both of these arms perform great. Like I said up top, I've actually been using these exact arms for over 2 years, and they still perform like new. I can adjust them to any position that I need. The pneumatic gas springs still work perfectly. Adjustments are smooth and stable, and I would never go back to setting monitors on my desk. It just takes up too much space. It looks bad. You can't adjust them where you want. Now, once you have these arms, you will never go back to just setting something on a table. What is this, 1950? Come on. We have monitor arms. Don't set something down. Suspend it. You know what I mean? So another option you have if you are using 2 or 3 monitors is to get a single, dual, or triple arm. But for me, I wasn't able to get the positions that I wanted for my monitors, so that's why I opted for 2 single arms. So if you're looking for a monitor arm or 2, I highly suggest either of these arms. They both work great. I've used them both for over 2 years, and they still perform, just like brand new, all right? So if you want to pick one up for yourself, I'll be sure to have links in the description below.